My name's Ratio and you are tuned into the Maths Surgery. Today we're going to be looking at what is a percentage? Well, a percentage, for example, I'm going to write, say, 50%. Okay, now you have a number 50 and you have percent. That percent on its own is equal to something over 100. And the number in front, the 50, gives you 50 over 100. So that 50%, and I'm going to write it here, is equal to 50 over 100. Percentage to a fraction. So if we say a percentage, now you know what percentage is. Say we say 68%. Now I need to convert that into a fraction. So a fraction is simply where you have a numerator and a denominator. So 68% we know is equal to, mentioned it earlier, 68 over 100. That is a fraction. But when you're converting from percentage to a fraction, you have to take the fraction down to its lowest level. And to do that, you find a number that goes both into 100 and 68. And if you're not sure, you can always just start with 2. Because by doing it with 2, all you're doing is halving the number. So 2 into 68 will give you 34. 2 into 100 gives you 50. You can still find numbers that can go in because they're both even numbers. What goes into 34? Well, you can say 2 again. 2 into 34 will give you 17. And 2 into 50 will give you 25. So that's the smallest you can take that fraction down to. So 68%, which is equal to 68 over 100, in its lowest form, fraction-wise, will give you 17 over 25. All right, now we're going to look at percentages to decimal. Okay, because there's a half here, it's difficult to kind of work this one out. So what you want to try and do is, if you multiply the top and the bottom, multiply the top and the bottom by 2. If you times that by 2 and you times that by 2, what are you going to get? Well, when you do that, when you're timesing by 2 here, that'll give you 200. Here, you think you're going to get 91. But when you're timesing a fraction by a whole number, them two cancel themselves out, and you're left with 45 times 1. So 45 times 1 is 45, and then times that by 2, that will give you 90. All right? Because I'm timesing, this 2 will cancel out that 2. So you no longer have the fraction. That's how it works in maths. All right? So you're now left with 90 over 200. And now you will find a number that goes into both. So we know 10 goes into 90 9 times, and we know 10 goes into 200 20 times. So 45.5% converted to a fraction will give you 9 over 10 in its lowest form. All right? Okay. Converting percentage to a decimal. Well, okay, so let's take any decimal percentage. Let's take any percentage. Let's take 25%. Now I need to convert that into a decimal, but before I convert it to a decimal, I will convert it into a fraction. 25% we know is 25 over 100, because the percent is something over 100, and we know the 25 will sit on top. Right, now we want to convert this into a decimal. The way we do that, how many times does 100 go into 25? Well, it doesn't go. So you put a point, and then you add a 0. How many times does 100 go into 250? It goes into it 2 times, leaving 50, and then we can just add a 0. 100 into 500 goes 5, so your answer is 0.25. The reason why we can add these zeros is because once we put a 0 and a point, these numbers behind the decimal point are less than 1. So now your answer gives you 0.25 as your answer. So 25% is equal to 0.25. Let me do one more. We do 34%. So that's going to give you 34 over 100. And then we can say, how many times 100 go into 34? It doesn't go, 0 point. And then we add a 0. 100 into 340 goes 3. And then you can get rid of that. And then you can just add a 0 because 100 don't go into 40. And 100 into 400 goes 4. and it gives you 0.3. And if you notice the pattern, when you are dividing by 100, do you notice you're actually just moving the decimal point two places? That's kind of how it works. So let's use a fraction. So we have a half. We need to convert this to a percentage, but to convert this to a percentage, we have to convert it to a decimal first. So 2 into 1 doesn't go, 0 point, and then you add a 0. 2 into 10 goes 5. Now you have that. You now want to convert it into a percentage, and to convert it into a percentage, you have to times by 100. So 0.5 times 100 is equal to 50%. When you times by 100, you move the decimal point 2 places. So if you have 0.5, you're going to be moving it 1, 2. And you see like there's a pocket there, you have to fill it with a 0. 50%, and then it becomes 50. All right, let's look at another one. Say you have 1/4. You need to convert this into a decimal first. 4 into 1 doesn't go. So you put a 0, then you put a point, and then you add a 0. 4 into 10 goes 2, because 2 4s are 8. If you take 8 from 10, you're left with 2. And then you just add a 0. 4 into 20 goes 5. Now you have 0.525. You times by 100, and that will give you 25%. It's all about following the process. Once you have the process, it's usually pretty straightforward. And that was fractions to percentages. 0.2. That's a decimal. Well, what's a decimal? A decimal is anything that has a point in it. All right? So 50.75 is a decimal. 1.6 decimal. 3.089 decimal. Anything with a point in it is a decimal. Okay, so now we want to convert 0.2 into a decimal to percentage. So all you're going to do very simply is times by 100. 0.2 times 100 is equal to, and you're going to move the decimal point 2 places. So that's going to give you 20%. When you have 0.2, if you're going to move it 2 places, you're going to move it 1, 2. And then fill that hole with 0, 20%. Let's look at another one. Say you wanted to change 0.005 into a percentage. Yeah, that's a decimal, right? That's going to be equal to 0.005 times 100. That is going to give you, going to move it 2 places. 1, 2. That's where the decimal point is going to go. So it's going to be 0.5%. So we're going to write 55p as a percentage of 88. So the way we're going to do this is, normally we say that a percentage is something over 100. But in this question, it says write 55p as what? A percentage of a number, 88. When they don't give you a number, it's going to be 100. So now that means that sum is going to be 55 over 88. And now you have to work that out. So what is 55 over 88? Well, I'm going to use my calculator on this one. It's all about knowing what numbers to plug in. So 55 divided by 88 will give me 0.625. Now you have that. You have to now, what do you have to do? You're expressing one number as a percentage of another. So write 55p as a percentage of 88. That's why I like to write the question. So I've always got an eye on it. All right. And all I've got to do now is what I was doing before. Times it by 100. And that's going to give me, because I'm going to move the decimal point 1, 2 places. So my answer is going to be 62.5. And don't forget your percent. So the first thing we have to do is look at what is percentage increase. So PI, percentage increase, is equal to change over original amount, right? So the percentage increase or decrease or percentage decrease, either one of them is equal to the same. They are both equal to change over original price. So what is the change in this instance? Well, the change in this instance, we're looking at this one, percentage increase. Yes, that's the one we're looking at. That is going to be equal to the change. And what is the change? Well, the change is going to be the amount it is now, which is 79,950 minus 78000 over the original price, which is 78000. So what is 79,950 minus 78,000? Well, that is going to give you, I think it's going to give you 1,950 over 78,000. And then at that point, you can just get your calculator. So that means percentage increase is equal to, and then you just do the sum on the calculator, 1950 divided by 78,000, 1, 2, 3, and that gives you 0.025. And once you have that, you have to times by 100. So in this formula here, you would actually have times 100 there. Okay, but because I'm working it out stage by stage, and then you say times by 100 there. So now you come down here, 0.025 times 100. So percentage increase. So percentage increase is 2.5%. Hotech family, my name's Pyratia.